Hi, I'm Dr. Dave Janda. Welcome back to Operation Freedom Briefings. The goal of these briefings and my weekly radio show is to provide you information the bought-off, lamestream, fake media will never provide. You can join us every Sunday from 2 to 5 Eastern. Stream Operation Freedom Radio Show live at davejanda.com. We have a tremendous great group of guests who provide valuable information the bought-off, lamestream, fake media will never provide. Also join us on our website, davejanda.com. We have a tremendous amount of free public content we load every day to provide you information that you're not going to get from other sources. In addition, we have a subscription side of the platform, 30 cents a day, where we deep dive on issues. We have a tremendous amount of content there that we also load on a very regular basis. Our Insider Insight Show, Department of Advanced Research Show, our contributing editors, all of our podcasts are always available 24/7 for our subscribers. Take a look at davejanda.com. Please join us. Today's topic is about our financial system. Listen, if you listen to the bought-off, lamestream, fake media, CNBS as I call it, Fox Business News, the Stuart Varneys of the real world, the Maria Bartiromo's, everything's perfect, everything's fine. Oh, just keep shuffling along and stay in that pen that the globalists and the banksters want you in because you're just going to be fine. Keep buying Facebook, keep buying Netflix, keep buying the stock market. Oh, if it goes down a little bit, buy the dip. Wrong. They are setting you up for a huge financial fall because the more in debt they can make you, the easier victim you are of their system and the easier they can control you and the more power they get. Look, just look at last week's Bureau of Labor Statistics, all BS, numbers that came out. Oh, they were anticipating 188,000 new jobs would be added, and oh, fantastic. I mean, Maria Bartiromo, Stuart Varney went crazy. Oh, this is fantastic. I mean, 223,000 jobs. This is a huge beat. 223,000 jobs were created. This is a huge beat. Well, let's do a little deep dive on the numbers, something the bought-off, lamestream, fake media will never do because they're a propaganda arm, if you will, tentacle of the globalists. Little deep dive. Of the 223,000 jobs that were created, guess how many were added fictitiously through their birth-death model? How about 215,000? Right. So in other words, 8,000 jobs were created in the month of May. Not 223,000, 8,000. Oh, but wait. No, the unemployment rate, Maria Bartiromo and Stuart Varney, all about CNBS said the unemployment rate fell from 3.9% to 3.8%. You want to know why? Because 170,000 more Americans dropped out of the workforce. Right now, there are 95,195,000 Americans that are out of the workforce. That 3.8% unemployment number is bogus with a capital B. The best guy that does the analysis is John Williams at shadowstats.com. And John states the real unemployment rate is 21.5%. Look, there's a financial tsunami that's hitting. The water's being drawn back out before it gushes back onto shore, and they're trying to say, hey, look, you got a bigger beach to go walk on. Go walk on the beach. No, you should be going to higher ground. The numbers in the U.S. are not as good as the propaganda is trying to make you believe. In addition, some other issues that the lamestream fake media is not going to touch. Look what's happening in Italy. Bond markets cratering, stock markets cratering. Look at what's happening with the largest bank in Europe, Deutsche Bank. It's imploding. Its stock price is hitting new lows. It has tens of trillions of dollars of derivatives that are in the process of going under. Unless you might say, well, that's bad for Deutsche Bank shareholders and people at in Germany and Deutsche Bank, but you do business with Deutsche Bank, but it's not going to affect me. Wrong! Every bank in Europe, every bank in the United States is tied to Deutsche Bank. Look, governments are owned and operated by the criminal banking syndicate. And the banking syndicate has built a house of cards through the Rothschild-Rockefeller axis. And that house of cards is starting to tumble down. And you don't want to be a victim of that implosion. It was stated recently by Bryce McBride via the Mises Institute. This is on Zero Hedge. Governments on their own are only responsible for a small portion of the corruption which has delivered anemic growth, rising inequality, and recurring financial crises. You need to look at the banks. Quote, as the 18th century German banker Meyer Amschel Rothschild, the godfather of this horrible globalist system, he was purported to have said, quote, permit me to issue and control the money of a nation, and I care not who makes the laws, end quote. McBride goes on, sadly, while the upcoming election may change who sits where in the legislatures around the world, it will in no way address the corruption of the monetary system, which continues to undermine not only our prosperity, but more importantly, our ability to trust one another enough to act collectively to advance the common good. You see, the banksters don't want the common good advanced. And they do that block that by entrapping you in their currency system. Remember, they took over, the Federal Reserve took over our money supply in 1913. The banksters did. That's when our sovereignty, we lost our sovereignty. That was under the direction of Woodrow Wilson. And whether it's the Bushes or the Clintons or the Obamas of late, they're all middle-level puppets of the globalist, bankster, Rothschild, Rockefeller axis that's trying to strip you of your freedom. And the best way to strip you of your freedom is to keep you in debt. And they did that, and they've accomplished that by taking control of the money supply. But if you look around the world, there are entities, sovereign entities, that are trying to take back control of their financial future. And they're doing that by accumulating the only real money in the history of this world, and that's gold and silver. And that's been the case for 5,000 years. Look, Turkey is repatriating its gold. Germany has repatriated its gold. Russia, China, India are all buying huge quantities of gold and silver. Headline from Zero Hedge, as Russia gold hoard soars, Putin warns, quote, U.S. sanctions hurt trust in the dollar as a reserve currency, end quote. China, look what they're doing. You no longer have to buy oil in dollars. You can now use it through a contract they've created with their currency, the yuan. And then you can flip it into another contract for gold. China, Russia, India. Look at Iran. They're now accepting payment for oil in other currencies. China's doing deals with Iran. Russia's doing deals with Iran. They're all starting to set up an alternative system outside of the dollar that's controlled by the Rothschild-Rockefeller axis. And they're all accumulating gold. This again from Zero Hedge, quote, they know what's going to happen, end quote. Governments, big banks are stockpiling gold. The writings on the wall in the major financial institutions across the world are warning about the economic disaster to come. Unabated money printing, tariff trade wars, rising interest rates, and retail slowdowns point to one result, and it's going to be brutal. Big banks and governments know what's coming, and they're preparing for this eventuality by stockpiling huge amounts of, quote, real money, end quote, gold and silver, ahead of the crisis. And Trump is even giving you a warning about this reset. Quote, recent tweet, we may take a hit, end quote. Trump warns investors to prepare for pain in the market. Quote, I'm not saying there won't be a little pain, so we might lose a little of it. We may take a hit, but you know what? Ultimately, we're going to be much stronger for it. What he's telling you is there's a reset coming. The globalist house of cards is coming down. And if you look at other sovereign entities, Russia, China, India, look what they're doing. They're creating a lifeboat for themselves and their societies. You need to do the same. Listen to the interview we did last week on Operation Freedom with Adriana Reed. Listen to the interview that we're going to do this week with Craig Hemke this coming Sunday. We just did an Insider Insight show with Bill Holter. We've also done Insider Insight shows with Catherine Austin Fitz and with Rob Kirby, all addressing this issue. The globalists are accumulating gold and silver hand over fist to protect themselves when their house of cards comes falling down. Other sovereign entities, Russia, China, India, are doing the same. And the globalists will stop at nothing to accumulate as much gold and silver as possible. This from WikiLeaks regarding the Clintons' email. NATO killed Gaddafi to stop the gold-backed currency that he was trying to introduce. You see, Gaddafi wasn't going to play in the Rothschild-Rockefeller axis any longer of the globalists. He was trying to create a gold-backed dinar. So they had him killed. And when they killed him, they not only turned Libya into a flaming hellhole for all those individuals, innocent individuals, whose lives have now been destroyed, but they not only took his oil, they took his reserves of gold and silver. And by killing him, they took away the ability to get away from the fake currency market created by the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers. Look, protect yourself. Listen to people that have huge knowledge base. They're analytical thinkers, forensic scientists when it comes to the finance of the world. You would be smart by doing what other sovereign nations like Russia and China and India are doing. They're accumulating real money, gold and silver. It's an insurance policy for you and your family. The more protected you are when their house of the globalist cards comes falling down, the safer you will be, and the more empowered you will be, and the more freedoms you will maintain for yourself and your families. Please join us at davejanda.com. Again, tremendous amount of content on the free side, tremendous amount of content on our subscription side for 30 cents a day. Biggest bang for the buck in all the internet. I thank you for joining me. I thank you for your time. And until next time, this is Dave Janda signing off. Dream big and dare to fail.